Hello and greetings from Iceland. I was just about to finish a new video about the earthquakes near Reykjavik when a new earthquake swarm started at another location, and lucky me to have some footage from there. That's what my channel is all about. And I'm going to start by showing you the location with respect to the other earthquakes the other day. So we start with a wide view, and it's just about here where the first earthquake swarm was. And when we look at the plate boundaries from the volcano Hengill, this is Lake Þingvallavatn, and behind it we have this famous scene, the broken ground, and the fracture swarm then disappears under the sealed volcano Skjaldbreiður, which demonstrates how 13 cubic kilometers of lava look like above the crust. And I'm using this volcano now to demonstrate some of the magma pumps in the neighborhood. And looking at the scenario from air and the earthquakes, we see them line up here between the sealed volcanoes Skjaldbreiður and Og. And Og is better known for being the glacier that disappeared. And in my opinion, this is a way too simple name for foreigners. Foreigners pronouncing Icelandic place names has for a long time been this unofficial part of the Icelandic entertainment industry. And I was flying up to this glacier, Og, a while ago, using my thermal drone. So this was filmed with a camera that I almost never use, with color science that I don't like as much as the DJI color science. But this will have to do today. And I was actually glad to find out this morning that I actually captured the perfect angle for this video, since the earthquakes, they line up exactly here. And this is of course not saying much. This is just the location. But last night I came across a report from the Met Office where they were studying the fractures there from earthquake patterns. And the ground there is extremely broken. So the earthquakes line up with their description of the fractures, and the seismic activity has actually in the past stretched under the nearby glacier Langjökull, where we have two volcanoes. But the main question we have now is, of course, are those earthquakes tectonic, or can magma on the move be detected? And as for the earthquake swarm 2 days ago on Mount Hellisheiði by Reykjavik, the Met Office said back then they are tectonic because they are not deep enough to be associated with magma on the move. And that is certainly not the case here. These earthquakes go deep down. But it's not for me to interpret science data. This is just the general information. And I actually noticed a comment from the Met Office in the newspapers today, and it sounds like this. Initial evidence suggests that this is a traditional sequence of plate tectonic movements. But the Met Office is known from being very, very careful in statements. They never say anything that could backfire, not even when the backfire is already there.
Nothing to see here, please!
It has to be clear, though, that seismic activity near the glacier Langjökull is quite frequent. But as strong and persistent as this earthquake swarm, that is quite rare. And when we look at the history of volcanism, the last eruption took place near the edge of Langjökull glacier, likely around the year 900. Which is close to the period when the Reykjanes Peninsula woke up last time. And that eruption left us with 3 cubic kilometers of lava, which is quite impressive, and the waterfall that emerged from under that lava field is even more impressive today. And what I feel as interesting is the fact that there is other activity on the West Iceland volcanic belt. I've spoken about this location on the Snæfellsnes Peninsula several times, where magma is likely on the move, still deep down, but obviously suffering from the urge to reach the surface. And I remember Professor Þorvaldur Þórðarson asking the question a while ago, could it be that there is some kind of connection between the Reykjanes Peninsula and the West Icelandic volcanic belt? But that was his speculations. not scientific assessment. And I'm curious to know what he says about one more location joining the party. And the earthquake map for West Iceland has looked like a disco floor for a few days now. So something is cooking that we haven't seen before. But as usual, this could all fade out soon, and we will just have to see how this develops. But as for making videos about these locations, I'm not complaining. It's plenty to see around here. And I need to tell you about a good sightseeing tour that I have already online. It's a helicopter tour straight over the earthquake location. I filmed it last summer with a channel viewer from the US who invited me to join him. And although the helicopter filming turned out to be way trickier than I expected, my mini camera saved the day with a window holder, and the flight path goes like this. The tour starts above the glacier Þórisjökull, and then we land by the edge of the glacier about 1 kilometer away from the earthquake location. I'm doing a little drone trip there before we take off again and fly almost directly above the earthquake location back to Reykjavík. So I recommend that video if you want to look at the landscape there. And I have another tour online shot later in the summer when a friend of mine who has a modified Jeep drove us up to the glacier. And that video includes drone footage as well. And the third tour between the Þingvellir region and Borgarfjörður region. That trip isn't online yet, but I'm looking at it now. And that road is categorized as a mountain road. It hasn't opened yet, and all highland roads in Iceland are actually still closed, which is a bummer due to this cold spring. But you can see it on road.is when this road opens up, because it's worth it. And I'm of course planning yet another trip there. This is one of the places where I just can't get enough footage from, or where new land emerges from melting glaciers. And when these earthquakes started yesterday, I had another video almost ready that I placed on hold about the earthquakes near Reykjavík. I have new information there, and that video will be online very soon. But this situation by Langjökull is strange. The earthquakes go deep down. This has been going on for some weeks now, and I didn't cover this until now because at first this looked like just one of those things that would go away soon, but it's not the case. This is something more. And with that, I'm sending you best regards from the volcano island, Iceland.